aspects of this, you might recall, and we've brought this up on our program, we've also brought this to people around the country, we brought it back to another part of the country, is the fact that the National Health Care Card is already in motion. Despite what has been said, the program is being attached in many different forms, several different tiers simultaneously brought together, as we described in the past. The National Health Care Card was first being implemented of all places, what a surprise, California. Well, not only in California, but other parts or regions of the country, but in Paso Robles County, which is where the National ID card was given to us, the health care card, you will not receive service, and we all know what servicing means in the cattle industry, right? Being serviced in the cattle industry is not like being serviced at your gas station, okay? Well, when the government says they're going to service you, I don't think they mean the gas station version either. I think they mean the cattle industry version. And what unfortunately happens is a situation where without the card, you will not receive health care service. Well, if it's the government kind of service we see from the IRS, the ATF, and the FBI, I don't think I want that kind anyway. And I think that's pretty well the attitude of everybody sitting here tonight. Well, what's unfortunately happened is they've stated uncategorically you will have the card there. We already received a sample from a healthcare worker who was in Paso Robles County at the time. I appreciate it because it's just like the M card, it's just like the Mark card for the military. It's the same silver chip, it's a multi-processor, and, or gold, correction, not silver. Better get that right, be very technical. The whole point being that this card was going to be implemented first at the county level, at the multi-county level, then the whole state. And Paso Robles is one of the many pilot counties. Now we've seen this many times with all the other aspects and all the other things that were going on that were described in this very room about 5 years ago. Example, this is one of the first places where we talked about car confiscations. Now, more publicity was brought to this, but for many people who are listening right now around the United States, car confiscation off the street is a reality. It's what's happening around the country right now. It is being discussed or it is being implemented. New York, New Jersey, many of the colonial states, California. This is a big issue again. They had to wait. They had to go hold down, we say. If you've ever been in a tank, you know, if you're in tank country and you're fighting other tanks, you don't stand on a flat piece of real estate and wait and get your butt shut off. You roll with the terrain, you find an area where you can drop the hull down where it's out of sight, out of mind, you keep the turret where it can do some damage, you fire on the target, if need be, you pull your tank back so it's even less of a target by not being exposed at all. That's exactly the kind of battlefield you're dealing with legislation. As we have effectively fought the enemy, as we have effectively engaged the enemy, which most people forget, we have been very effective. We have exposed the actions that have taken place, and because of that, the other side has been forced to stop and hold down. Notice I didn't say back up. And I want to stress this because this is very, very important to our entire discussion tonight. The other side, from the ATF, the FBI, to the IRS, to whoever, are making a great effort to continue where they left off. They will stop at a certain point, wait to see when the smoke clears, if everything's safe to start moving again, if they've dumbed down the population, if they've keyed in the controlled media, if they plugged in the proper propaganda so that they can continue with the action by vilifying the opposition. How many times have we seen this? Example is, again, the ATF. After the Waco attacks, the Waco assault took place, and by the way, I heard something on one of the local radio stations that, you don't think that the ATF planned that raid on Waco, do you? Excuse me, hello? Hello? Reminds me of Jafar, hello. Well, it's interesting to note that, yes, they did plan it. In fact, just as a bench note for all the people listening, and many Mark Koernke listen here on Public Radio International, the ATF and FBI planned that exercise 6 months in advance, had a mock-up, a full-scale mock-up of the Davidian church and home. Went through the action illegally with military forces, including JTF-6, coordinated with foreign military assets, executed the action, failed, mind you, even with all of this planning. And I'll get into that in a minute, why they failed. And then turned around and had to try and cover their act up. And of course, we all know how they finally covered it up with flame and destruction. There is a new movie that is out. I've mentioned this many times, and I'll mention this every chance I get. It's called Waco Rules of Engagement. You have an organization here, you need to bring this movie. I notice we've got projectors up there. I can almost guarantee you can get it. You need to play this thing as many times as you can. Our friends and patriots that are out in California listening tonight called the moment they played it in San Francisco. Now remember, San Francisco is like Ann Arbor. In fact, we call Ann Arbor Little San Francisco. Very little town, right? Yeah, right. Okay. When everybody came out of the theaters, they were all in tears. The people who came in with a pre-assumption of what they were going to see refused to leave in the first hour, the first showing. They all wanted to sit through and watch it a second time, and there were lines to get in. The reason is that this has all the footage, and it catches the government agencies and the press especially in their lives. Now, 60 Minutes, of course, we know what kind of icons of truth they are, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And they go, oh yeah. Well, of course, the interesting point is that in this film, the authors catch 60 Minutes and ambush them for a change. And they pin them down and they ask them about the footage that they have, which, well, by the way, all of the original government footage was subpoenaed for the trial, which is why you did not see the Davidian trial on national television. We saw O.J. Simpson for almost 2 years, right? He went for the trial, never seen O.J. Simpson. And only 2 people were killed there, by the way. But a place where we saw people murdered on national television did not get a single bit of coverage, not a single cable station covered it. There's a good reason why. Because it showed all of the facts of what really transpired at Waco. Now, it's 1997, ladies and gentlemen. We're looking at October of 1997 rolling around here. We're only a few weeks away again. It doesn't seem like that's possible, but we're looking at 3 weeks and we're through this month. So we're looking at years since Waco was destroyed for finally a small glimmer of the actual factual evidence to come out. Now, you're trying to tell me that out of ABC, NBC, CBS, and CNN, that all these networks couldn't see that it would be viable and monetarily desirable to do a realistic or a real report on what actually transpired at Waco? Well, of course not. You saw what ABC did, Waco, the final word, and they used selective footage from the FLIR footage done from overhead. They chopped and hacked all of the convenient audio tapes that were done from all the microphones planted in the walls. You know, the Davidians were so evil and terrible that they let these people wander up the building on a regular basis and fiddle with the windows and mess with the walls and let them walk away without shooting them. That's how evil and sadistic the Davidians were, don't you know? Now, a case in point, and I've got to stress this because I make no bones about it, that I support the militia, helped to make the militia, I think. Helped to build us to where we are today in many different forms. And one of the things I have to stress is we have to be prepared to defend ourselves. But let me bring something up. Everybody's worried about, oh, it's futile to resist like the Borg. It's futile to resist, you will be absorbed. They're so powerful, they have such wonder to it. You know, give me another phaser, we'll see if this one works. Okay? I'm not worried about whether or not it's futile to resist. I just want to find something that'll kill the buggers. Okay? In this case with the Davidians, imagine that this is just like a Wild West scenario or an image of the barbarians engaging civilization on the very fringe where the two can collide. What you saw was a government agency planning to attack a group of people on their worship day. They specifically chose their day that they would be in church. They waited and knew that many of the men of fighting age would be away from the home, working either in the fields or going to their personal jobs. If they were making an attempt to arrest David Koresh, one of the problems I have there is David Koresh had a home in Waco, Texas, and jogged every day on a regular basis that could be timed like clockwork. So the excuse that they originally tried to give in both the nonsense story that they tried to sell does not connect with the actual facts that they eventually were collecting. However, in Waco rules of engagement, which you must get, we'll give you the contact numbers, John can access them through the office, and give us a ring over the public radio. All of the footage that is missing from all of the ABC and NBC tapes was included. The FLIR footage clearly shows them shooting the people at the back of the church when they tried to escape. It can be seen